Hey, how's it going? I wanted to, weigh in on a extremely controversial subject. Uh, at the risk of upsetting both sides, I'm trying to find common ground here, and as usual in my life, kind of walk the line on the yin yang sign. Uh, and the debate in the country, and I guess the planet over the pro-life, pro-choice issue. Very touchy subject, but we have to be able to, as in politics, we've got to find a way to talk to people of opposing views in a mature way, in a constructive way. And as someone who's, um, uh, felt drawn to both sides of this issue at different times in my life, I can see and understand both sides. So how do we bring resolution and a common ground uh, to opposing sides of a very emotional subject? I think step number one is both sides on this issue, whether you consider yourself pro-life or pro-choice, have to start by recognizing that there are good people on both sides of this issue fighting for a noble cause. Okay, pro-choice supporters don't hate babies. Okay, they they're defending women's rights. Flip side of that is that pro-life people, religious people, basically, or just pro-life people, don't hate women. They're not misogynists. To them, I think it's understandable. They view the life in the womb, the developing baby, fetus, as a baby, as a human life, as precious. So that's it. You can't hate or judge people for seeing things differently than you. That is a lesson in life that people need to wake up to. Um, I hate to sound uh, hmm, judgmental. I'm not trying to be, but we're very childish in so many ways. Okay, this issue comes down to two people seeing things differently. Two people, two mature, thoughtful, compassionate people can sit down and look at the medical case, whether that's a human life or not, and come to different conclusions. Okay, who's right and who's wrong? I'm sorry, it's a gray area. As in many things in life, you can't convince someone to see something that they don't see. For example, I don't eat animals. I went vegan almost 2 years ago because I see animals as sacred and worthy of protection. I don't judge people who eat animals. They see it differently. So if we're going to be constructive and mature and thoughtful and move forward uh, toward progress, what's the common ground? Where can we find, because I think the pro-life movement has to recognize something. Um, your end goal is to, right, to prevent abortions from happening. That's what you want, whether it's by law or other means. If people aren't having abortions, that you should be happy. You've got to recognize that by taking the right to an abortion away, a safe, I know you're going to debate me on that, whether it's safe or not, but a medically professional abortion, by taking that right away from women, you won't stop abortions from happening. Women will still have abortions, but they won't be as safe. You put the life of the mother in jeopardy, and they'll still have the abortions by and large. And the ones that don't will make their life miserable. They will, what's the word, resent having to have a baby. You know, they're their own person. They need to make that judgment themselves. Taking the right away does not prevent abortion. And listen, you will have women up in arms by taking that right away. So that's not a solution. You can't have a legal victory on this issue. You can't stop abortion by making it illegal. Your victory for the pro-life movement has to come by recognizing we're not going to stop every abortion from happening. We want to minimize the number of abortions that women have because they have access to contraception, education, um, and education about what's happening. We're trying to convince as many of them, thoughtfully through the medical argument that is a baby. That's it's worth protecting. But ultimately, it's left should be left up to them. So the common ground. that I think we had to set our sights on, everyone, is to have a country where everyone has the right to an abortion, but very few women choose to have an abortion because they have access to contraception, education, and because they've been informed about whatever the risks are, the real risks, um, and what the argument is, whether that's qualifies as a human life or not. Um, that's it. And again, and as someone who's grew up in a Catholic, very pro-life house, my mother was very active in the movement. I was kind of indoctrinated, and I totally get her argument. I think she's a great woman. So getting older in life and doing fundraising for Planned Parenthood, and you get the real stats, you can see their side of the argument. And and unfortunately, what I find is that the pro-life movement, because they're so energetic about this issue and so emotional, they latch on to statistics and figures, and uh, it's almost like any means necessary to win the argument. Like when these reporters they get bogus claims about selling body parts, it's almost like the ends justifies the means for that movement. And I'm sorry, um, that's that's not okay. The ends don't justify the means. I know that's emotional for you, but you've got to fight fair. You've got to be real. And so, talking to my mother about it, she latches on to stats and it doesn't bother to double check. She heard it, so it must be true. It supports her supports her argument. Um, so, whatever the cost, I hope that this helps bring some kind of peaceful progress. That's it, guys. Again, we want a country. I think all of us have to recognize this is the best answer. It's not everyone's going to be happy on this issue. Well, that's life, right? That's democracy. We've got to find common ground. We are so partisan on so many issues that it makes society suffer. So that's it. Try to cover other topics and try to bring a mature, thoughtful, nonpartisan, viewpoint to these arguments. And it's, whether you go on TV or even these, YouTube channels, it's become a very partisan country, and that's not healthy. It's not productive. All right, guys, signing off. Wish you